What if next summer never shows up? Not a heat wave, not a delay, just cold, gray skies, crops dying in the fields. It sounds like science fiction, but it's not. It already happened, and it changed the course of history. In the year 1816, people across North America and Europe noticed something deeply unsettling. The seasons felt broken. In places like New England and Canada, it snowed in June. A hard frost hit in July, killing off young plants. In Europe, the rain just wouldn't stop. It was a year of persistent cold, gray skies, and unending clouds. Farmers watched in disbelief as their fields failed. Corn stalks were stunted and yellow. Hay for livestock rotted before it could be harvested. Families who depended entirely on the food they grew watched their future become terrifyingly uncertain. Food became scarce, and what was available, you could barely afford. This wasn't just a bad year. It was a year where the fundamental rules of nature seemed to have been rewritten. If you look through newspapers and personal diaries from that time, you can feel the rising panic and confusion. The world just felt wrong. In Vermont, one farmer wrote about how the corn, a staple crop, simply wouldn't mature. In Ireland, the potato crop failed, leading to starvation and disease. Across the board, livestock feed ran short. Farmers had to slaughter their animals because they couldn't feed them, which only made the coming winter look even bleaker. The markets panicked. Food prices climbed to levels that nobody had seen before. People who couldn't find work or afford bread began to migrate, desperately trying to escape the cold and find some means of survival. And because the science of global weather wasn't understood, the explanations were desperate. Some people blamed sunspots, thinking the sun itself was weakening. Others saw it as divine punishment for humanity's sins. Many just accepted this new, miserable reality as permanent, a sign that the world was entering a dark new age. Eventually, the year earned a chilling nickname that stuck: the year without a summer. But the real reason wasn't supernatural. It wasn't a mystery happening in the sky above. It was something that had happened right here on Earth suddenly, violently, and thousands of miles away from the people suffering its effects. The story begins a year earlier in April 1815 on the other side of the world. A volcano on the island of Sumbawa, in what is now Indonesia, erupted with catastrophic force. Its name was Mount Tambora. This wasn't just any eruption. It was one of the most powerful volcanic events in recorded history. The explosion was so massive, it was heard over 1,000 miles away. It blasted huge amounts of ash, rock, and gas high into the atmosphere. But the key to what happened next is into the heavy ash you see falling near a volcano. The real culprit is the microscopic stuff. The fine particles and sulfur gases that get shot into the stratosphere far above the clouds. Once they're up there, they don't just fall back down. They spread. The stratosphere's winds carry these particles all around the globe, forming a thin, invisible veil. This veil of aerosols acts like a planetary sunshade, reflecting a small but critical amount of sunlight back into space. Less sunlight reaches the ground, and as a result, global average temperatures drop. Weather patterns that have been stable for centuries are thrown into chaos. And because our atmosphere connects everything, a single volcanic eruption in one remote corner of the world can bring frost to a farm in Pennsylvania, and endless rain to a village in Switzerland. The consequences were brutal and far-reaching. The immediate impact was agricultural failure on a massive scale. With harvests collapsing in multiple regions at once, hunger became a widespread problem. In some parts of Europe, there were food riots. People broke into granaries desperate for anything to eat. The economic stress spread like a virus. It wasn't just about food. When societies get squeezed by shortages, everything becomes fragile. Jobs disappear, social stability crumbles. People are forced to leave their homes, not by choice, but by necessity. This single natural event, born from the fire of a volcano, reshaped the lives of millions of people, all without warning and without their permission. It was a stark reminder that our civilizations, no matter how advanced they seem, are fundamentally dependent on the stability of the natural world. Now here's the unsettling part. Events like this aren't just something for the history books. Large-scale volcanic eruptions that can affect the global climate are not a question of if but when. We live on a geologically active planet. Supervolcanoes like the one at Yellowstone or other large volcanic systems around the world have the potential to erupt on a scale similar to or even greater than Tambora. And while our modern agriculture is more efficient and our global trade networks are incredibly sophisticated, they also have their own vulnerabilities. Our food system depends on tight timing, predictable seasons, and stable supply chains. A disruption to the climate, even for a year or two, could cause cascading failures throughout this complex global system. So the question isn't whether nature can do it again. It can. The real question is, how resilient are we really when it does? The world didn't end in 1816, humanity survived. But that year revealed something that's very easy to forget in our comfortable, modern lives. Our entire civilization is built on a foundation of unspoken assumptions, simple, basic truths we take for granted. We assume the sun will rise. We assume the rains will come, and we assume that summer will always follow spring. In the year without a summer, that last assumption was proven false. For one long, cold year, summer didn't arrive, and millions of people paid the price for that unexpected reality. It's a powerful lesson about the hidden fragility of the systems we depend on. If one volcano, erupting on the other side of the planet, can dim the sun and disrupt entire continents, it makes you wonder, what else are we relying on without even realizing it? What other summers do we take for granted? That's something worth thinking about. Thanks for watching. If you found this interesting, consider subscribing for more stories about our world.